Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and a man rapidly running out of storage space. It's too late. Random review is about to begin.
Welcome back to the TJOmega channel. It is day 5 for our Prime Changer Roundup. And yeah, if you're watching this one, it means yeah, there's no news roundup on Monday. I'm still in California. Can't really talk about the news if I'm that far away from the computer. We'll get around to it sometime this week. But for now, we got to talk about Bumblebee from the Transformers 1 Prime Changer line. I wanted to save something special for last, and rarely when these gimmick lines and these, like, well, not gimmick, but like low budget lines come along, I don't really anticipate the Bumblebee. It feels like they get undercooked a lot because, hey, Bumblebee is going to sell no matter what. So, let's actually see what went on here, and you'll be surprised, because I was certainly surprised. So, taking a look at B127 here, no, I won't use the name he wants me to use. He's done in an interesting shade of metallic yellow, not gold. It's easy to make that distinction. This is again a metallic yellow, which is a really hard thing to nail, to actually like be able to make that distinction. But they pull it off pretty good here. He's got that War for Cybertron gaming mouse look to him, which is what you want out of like a Cybertronian Bumblebee these days. He's got the round, cute aesthetic, the large wheels. It's a very, very nice take on a Cybertronian Bumblebee. He's got a little bit of junk around here, which kind of plays into like how his engineering works. But again, Cybertronian means it's just part of how he looks in vehicle mode. I'm not going to argue it. Coloring-wise, that little chunk does give us some gunmetal gray showing through, as well as some gunmetal on the side. Black across the top, because we got to have, you know, some semblance of black going across the top, because we all remember the 07 Bumblebee. A little bit of blue for the headlights, or I guess the view visors. What are we going to call their optics in vehicle mode? Whatever it is, there they are. Funny enough, if you actually look at the front grille and imagine those as teeth, now he looks very, very mean. Now it's a very angry vehicle mode. But beyond that, it does manage to keep Bumblebee's round, kind of cutesy car aesthetic, so that's what we like. On top, we see his weapons mounted, so we can go ahead and take those off to get a nice clean look at the top. Super smooth, super aerodynamic look. Black going all the way across. You can see they even use the black paint to hide the hinges. That's not a bad idea. So overall, yeah, it's a nice little take on Bumblebee. And yeah, like, you get these big rolly wheels too. Like a lot of them, they don't have much contact surface on the ground, so you're not going to get a whole lot of like motion out of these wheels. You're not going to like zip it along the ground, even though that worked actually very well. They are pinned in though, so you might have some success. All right, transformation time. So we're going to go ahead and get those feet popped, get those cleared out of the way. Let's see, where is the next piece? Because I haven't transformed this in a little bit. So I've got a double hinge here, so I'm going to get that out of the way. Go ahead, and that should free up all the space I need for the legs. This is a tricky part, because the thighs plug into the leg compartments, and sometimes those tabs hold in tighter than the ball sockets on his hips. So if I end up popping a leg off here, that's just because the tolerances on mine are maybe a little bit too tight. And then we need to do something about it. Yeah, just get my finger in there. Yeah. So if yours does that, your best bet, your best bet here is just like find where that connection point is being made and just like sand it down just a little bit, just to give yourself a little bit more clearance. It doesn't need to be super tight or anything. That's the one drawback I've seen on this toy so far, is just like, yeah, that little connection point's maybe just a little bit too tight. All right, so that leg cooperated at least. That out of the way. I'm going to unpeg the arms from each other. get those taken care of. They double hinge outward. Give me all the range I need. All right. Go ahead and flip out what will become his belly. Hinge that all the way down. And now I need to go into his back. Flip out the head. Rotate that around. Close it back up. Then all we need to do is rotate the arms around. Make sure everything's nice and squared up here. And then rotate the waist to finish everything off. And that's going to be our B-127 or Bumblebee. Aside from that one little hinge that's maybe a little bit too tight on mine, I really like how this toy transforms. This is a fun figure to transform and mess around with. Don't know if yours is going to have the same leg problem as mine. Mine's just like a little bit too tight on the tolerances. That's fixable. So I'm not terribly upset by that. And the rest of everything works really, really nicely. There's a lot of standard Transformer practices going on in there, but they're all handled pretty well. And the fact that it creates this nice, super smooth vehicle mode, I really, really like it. I really, really like it. And as usual, the part that I always have to bring up, all of these so far, aside from the Quintesson, have been really, really clean and kibble-free. That I have really enjoyed out of this. The fact that those designs from the movie are specifically made to have really nice, smooth transformations to them, so you don't end up with a whole lot of junk going on. I even like how, the back kibble on Bumblebee ends up looking a little bit jetpacky, like a couple thrusters and little fins hanging off the side. Kind of a cool little touch. Don't know if he actually has one in the movie. I know as of this recording, the movie's out. As mentioned, I'm at TwitchCon. Or I'm still in California and I haven't gone to see the movie yet. Either way, I have no idea. You watching at home might know better than me. Don't spoil it in the comment section. But no, really, really good detail all the way around. Really good looking figure. And if we zoom in and take a look, head sculpt looking really, really nice and crisp. Maybe a little bit too serious on the face sculpt. The Bumblebee in this movie seems to be a little bit more jovial and jokey, so maybe that might be a little bit too stern. This might be one of those Bumblebees where a smirk would have been more appropriate. But not a bad hit sculpt. As long as we're zoomed in here, we can go ahead and see, that black and gunmetal have extended to his arms that go all the way down. It goes from that circle on the shoulder all the way to the wrist, which is kind of neat. The front of the car makes for really good torso detail. You get little bits showing through the gunmetal on the legs, and then, there's those big knee blocks that we saw in the vehicle mode. A little bit of gappy there, but, nothing I haven't seen on a Transformer before. We got some silver on the feet to kind of give it a nice little look there as well. Good looking figure all around. I really do like the overall, appearance of the Bumblebee. Looks like it's well painted. Definitely well sculpted. Okay. So I guess that leaves us to the articulation roundup next. So let's see how we go here. Not a lot of up and down range, but the head does go around 360 degrees. Like to see that. Ball joints in the arms, which not only have a nice cut, so you can work them pretty well if you don't pop them off the joint like I just did. But thanks to how his transformation works, you actually have a backward butterfly hinge, so you also have that you can work with for articulation. Bicep is ball jointed in due to the transformation, which does give it a decent range of motion. Full 360 degrees of rotation as well. Elbow joint, 90 degree. Nice to see. We saw the waist joint as part of the transformation. Ball joints in the hips, they work really well. 90 degree knee bend. Yes, the legs are going to look very hollow. It's a budgeted deluxe. Get used to it. And his feet are, oddly enough, his feet do have a rock to them, but they don't have an actual ankle tilt. The rock is actually to properly align it in vehicle mode. Not useful in the robot, which is unfortunate, but still has that slant so it can appear at a more standard pose. So what I would expect to get out of him, we've seen better articulation in the likes of Alpha Trion, but he's not doing a bad job. He still looks really, he still has plenty of posability to him. It's everything I want out of a Bumblebee at least. And then we have accessory play. And this is where things get interesting. So, for starters, the weapon can be split into two parts. So, the cannon will end up forming over on his left hand, and his knife hand ends up going over on the right. You can leave the knife attached to the blaster if you want to have one big weapon going on, but I like spreading them out across both sides. And for one of those plug-in and makes his arm look transformed type weapons, it actually does a pretty decent job of that. It looks like a pretty good, solid forearm blaster. Really cool to see. Seems to work really, really well. And then, of course, over here, you got that blue Energon knife hand. Looks really, really good. That's very appropriate. We've seen him in the trailer. Very, very nice. And then we have one more. I don't know why, but this is the only one of the Prime Changers that can actually do this. If we go to the chest and you pull down diagonally, the front can come off to actually show his transformation cog, fully painted and everything. This is not something any of the others do, and I'm not sure why. Because the whole point of this movie is, like, the transformation cogs are, like, a really important element. So why would you do it with just Bumblebee? Like, I guess they needed to give him a little bit more to do, but, like, they didn't feel the need to do that for the Quintesson. And Bumblebee's already got plenty of play pattern with his articulation and his, and his accessories. Like, those do a pretty good job as it is. I'm not sure why they felt the need to actually put the chest gimmick in. I appreciate that they did, though, because that is a cool little trick. I just wish the others did it now. Like, you just made me want all of them to do that. So, there we go. That is the Prime Changer Bumblebee from Transformers 1, and honestly, out of the 5, it ends up being my favorite. And while I will admit, Alpha Trion's got better articulation, and maybe, like, Sentinel has more accessory and less hollowness, I just love the transformation scheme on Bumblebee. I like it's fun to transform, and it's probably the most successful attempt I have seen Hasbro make at that Cybertronian round, like, gaming mouse Bumblebee look. Compared to all the others, it's a lot sleeker, smoother, and it flows into the robot mode way, way better than, like, the War for Cybertron design or any of its, like, iterations. So for me, if you only want to try out one, try out the Bumblebee. That would be the one I would go with. And then if we're ranking everything, then we're probably looking at Sentinel after, and then Alpha Trion, then Prime. The violet mileage may vary, and then, avoid the Alpha Quintesson. So, that's going to be it. Those are Wave 1 and 2 of all the Prime Changers. And if I need more videos than this to stand, while I'm gone, I'm in trouble. So, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for putting up with a whole lot of reviews in a very short time. I'll make sure these are more spaced out and a little bit cleaner next time. But until then, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.